And for more on the downing of flight MH17, we're joined by William Courtney. He is a foreign relations analyst who served as special assistant to the president for Russia in Ukraine. He's also a former U.S. ambassador to Georgia and Kazakhstan. Welcome back to the show, Ambassador. You've been hearing a lot of information today. The U.S. and President Obama have come out and said that they believe pro-Russian forces fired that missile that downed the plane. And now we know that there was at least one American on the flight. So how does that complicate the situation with the involvement of the U.S. and what's been happening in that region there with Ukraine and Russia?
What's different about this downing and the Malaysian aircraft that went down in the Indian Ocean was there's a lot of radar coverage of the area. So when President Obama today made it pretty clear that Russian troops were involved in firing that anti-aircraft missile, that was probably based on some pretty good information. The issue now for the Kremlin is, does the Kremlin try to become more honest about what's happened? Today, Russia allowed a UN Security Council resolution or statement to pass, which called for a full investigation. But if Russian-backed separatists fired the missile, or even Russian troops, they're going to not be so keen on a full investigation.
Been asking this question a lot today. There's probably a lot behind the scenes that most of us aren't unaware of. Can you talk about the intelligence sharing and the coordinating that's happening right now with all these different countries who had people on board that airplane?
Well, the United States and other NATO allies share a lot of intelligence with each other. The United States and Great Britain probably have the most substantial electronic assets of the kind that would be relevant in this apparatus. But I imagine that other NATO allies will have some information as well. So that information will be shared. The U.S. will want to share that in part to help persuade the Europeans that they need to be stronger on sanctions with respect to Russia, because this week, before the crash, only President Obama offered expanded sanctions.
Exactly. So can we see that change now with the cooperation or lack thereof that may be happening regarding this crash?
We will have to see. Hopefully there will be some. The Europeans will have to rally around the Dutch in this case, because so many Dutch citizens lost their lives. I think the Europeans would be reluctant now not to have a stronger response with regard to Russia, to the extent that Russia is culpable in this.
You know, an international team arrived there at the crash site, and there have been a lot of reports about this, that they were reportedly greeted by armed men, were denied access to the complete accident site. And the Ukrainian government says that it supports a full investigation, but does not have control of the area. So what happens now? Well,
it's the Kremlin's responsibility to rein in the separatists and be sure the separatists allow international investigators to come in to check the evidence. In the former Soviet Union, there's not much of a tradition of leaving crime scene evidence untouched. And as we saw that on your program with people walking through the area. But this is the Kremlin's responsibility. I imagine Western governments are leaning on the Kremlin to lean on the separatists to allow more access.
All right, Ambassador William Courtney, we appreciate your insight and unique perspective. Thank you so much.